Hello, you're watching iAfrica TV and welcome to Gambia 24. And on the top stories, new executive of the National Youth Council inaugurated. The youth coordinator of West Coast region, the Gambia, has underscored the region's achievements in this year's farming season. Cattle keeping and dealing continues to be the trademark of the National Livestock Dealers Association in Abuko. These and many more coming ahead in the next half an hour, and I am Mahmud Jawla, and thank you for joining us. For joining us. And first, we start with the most developing story in town, the ultimatum given to Gambian drivers by the country's authorities to renew their driving licenses and other vehicle particulars expired today. The Gambia Police Force has pounded hundreds of motorists in the Greater Banjul areas in the morning. That results to a serious delay in the daily transitions of business individuals, employees heading to workplaces, as well as students going to school. Having a commercial vehicle in the morning, either from Westfield to Banjul or Westfield to Brikama or Coastal Road, was more than difficult. In fact, others have paid double fares to reach their destinations. iAfrica's El Haji Sise tells us more.
The town of Serekunda in the Kanifing municipality of the Gambia had nearly fallen into a ghost place after an ultimatum given to drivers by the authorities to renew their licenses and other vehicle documents expired today. Many had blamed drivers for paying deaf ears about the issue after a long date given to them for the renewal. Police cracked down on hundreds of defaulters from different locations to effect the long overdue renewal. This had also prompted the small number of commercial vehicles who paid earlier to capitalize on the issue to overcharge passengers and pedestrians. Many trek long distances looking for transport for work. A good number of people were affected, particularly students who travel daily to the capital city Banjul for school. Petrol stations were affected as well as other businesses. Few vehicles move on to transport people to their various places. As the issue of transport still lingering ahead, much is expected as many drivers were yet to affect the renewal of their documents. Reporting for iAfrica TV, I'm Alaji Sise.
The Gambia National Sports Council has been inaugurated at a ceremony held at the Friendship Hotel in Bakau. The event brought together sports personnel from different sporting disciplines, including the Minister for Youth and Sports, Honorable Alieu K Jammeh, and other relevant stakeholders. After several years of jubilation and trials that have kept him out of active participation in sports, Lamin King Koli has been finally inaugurated as the chairman of the National Sports Council by the minister and the outgoing member of the former executive. Sajo Sambu was there and he filed in this report.
The inauguration ceremony of the National Sports Council was on Tuesday held at the Friendship Hotel in Bakau. The event has attracted different sports personnel from different sporting disciplines throughout the country, including the Ministry of Youth and Sports Honorable Alieu K Jammeh. After several years of jubilation and trials that have kept him out of active participation in sports, Lamin King Koli has been finally inaugurated as the chairman of the National Sports Council by the ministry and the outgoing members of the former executive. However, shortly after officially handing over the baton to his successor, the outgoing chairman, Mr. Suleiman Bunja, who came into office in February 2010, thanked the authorities for their relentless support during his tenure in office.
We may not be perfect, but parts of us are excellent. Please remember that as you judge us. To the minister and those at the ministry, the satellite institutions, stadium management, and all those who are friends of National Sports Council, we say thank you, especially to the staff for their overwhelming support while I was the chairman of this National Sports Council.
He pleaded with the masses to judge them out of their achievements and not of their shortcomings. noting that despite not meeting all expectations, they were able to conquer 50% of their desired goals. Speaking of the occasion, the incoming chairman of the National Sports Council, Lamin King Koli, thanked the former executive and wished them good luck in all endeavors.
The Gambia is blessed with good sport administrators, but they have not been able to deliver and live up to expectations because of continuous infighting among themselves and the national sport associations. It will seem some of these administrators are in sport for a personal gain.
He commended the Minister for Youth and Sports for not only having confidence in him, but also appointed him as the chairman of the council. Mr. Koli further urged the members of the council to put all hands on deck and stop the hustle of self-interest. To strengthen the Youth and Sports Ministry decentralization process, he tasked all sports associations to have national structures in all the regions of the nation before it could be recognized by the National Sports Council. For the Sport Minister, Alieu K Jammeh said after thanking the outgoing executive for laborious.
Because sport dynamics touches the lives of everybody in any society. It touches our lives, all of us, be it social, be it economics, and be it political. Because if sports goes wrong, the passion that goes with sports, if it goes wrong.
Certificates were given to the outgoing executive members as a sign of appreciation for their unwavering efforts in marching Gambian sports to international standard. In an interview with Africa TV after the inauguration, the outgoing chairman of the National Sports Council, Suleiman Bunja, got this to say.
We are not perfect, but parts of us are excellent.
For the incoming chairman, King Koli applauded the relevant stakeholders for nominating him to steer the affairs of the sports in the country. The National Stadium in Bakau for Africa TV, I am Saidu Sambu.
Elsewhere in the West Coast region, the youth coordinator Mahmud Jawla has underscored the region's achievement in this year's farming season. The farm produce that include Findi, rice, maize, sesame, groundnut, among others, were cultivated by 7 youth groups in the region. According to him, in other regions, some groups produce about 40 bags of groundnuts, but in his region, an individual was able to produce 100 bags. Africa Al-Haji Sise has more.
The West Coast region's achievement in this year's youth farming season had been architected through the efforts of the youth coordinator Mahmud Jawla. The farm produce that include Findi, rice, maize, sesame, groundnuts, among others, were cultivated by 7 youth groups in the region. Jawla said things would not have been a success if he was not on the ground to coordinate the work.
There is no big secret. It's just to be able to work with the youths. Like if I say, okay, I am employee, I have my office, I just put on my necktie, come and sit in the office here. At the end of the month, I receive my salary and go home. Nothing is going to work. So my work is to go out to the youths. And this is what I have been doing. But I cannot do this alone. I have, my lieutenants with me. That is the youth chairperson, Dembo Kambi, and another, district youth chairperson who is Albino. These people are very, very, very strong. They help me a lot. All what we achieve in West Coast region, without them, frankly, we will not have it. And also
in other regions, some groups produce about 40 bags of groundnut, but in the West Coast region, an individual was able to produce 100 bags, he said.
Youths of West Coast region or the entire country will always continue to give good results because we don't doubt the capabilities of our able minister, Honorable Alieu K Jammeh. As a result of his steadfastness and the love he has for the youths, this is the reason why youths are excelling in youth work and are responding positively to the president's clarion call. Honorable Babagay Sonko said it here, that he is very much happy by seeing a very small group of youths producing more than 40 bags. I want to tell you that in West Coast region, it is an individual who produces more than 100 bags. So you'll see what I always say wherever in any gathering, that West Coast region, we are pacesetters and will continue to be. Yeah, because I've just told the cameraman an hour ago that any program, any project that government wants to pilot, succeed.
He promised that any project agenda that comes on their way in West Coast region will succeed. He further stated that all the youth groups in his region were set to make next farming season an exemplary one. For iAfrica TV, Alaji Cisse. The West Coast region's
cattle keeping and dealing had been the trademark of the National Livestock Dealers Association since it was introduced at the Abattoir in Abuko, at the Central Abattoir in Abuko. Dealers flocked the place day and night to keep the business running under this association. Alaji Cisse was at the abattoir and he filed in this report.
And dealing had been the trademark of National Livestock Dealers Association since it was introduced at the Central Abattoir in Abuko. Dealers flocked the place day and night to keep business running under this association. The president of the National Livestock Dealers Association, Mr. Musa Jai, said all business there run under the umbrella of this association. Jai asserted that one could run his business without joining the group, but the regulatory body of the association controls the licenses of all livestock dealers in Abuko. He stated that there was no specific price for livestock in West Africa. Selling depends on how much dealers bought livestock. He disclosed that sometimes they cross borders, mainly in Senegal, Mali, and even Mauritania to buy livestock. As he revealed, sometimes put them into very hard situations. Changing the dollars into foreign money gives profit, but at times causes huge losses, he said. He urged Gambians to join the business so as to earn a better living. Mama Bayo, a middle-aged man who sold hay to livestock dealers, expressed joy in his work. He said though the business used to be very good, but during the rains there were always difficulties to transport the hay to Abuko. Bayo said there were specific prices for hay in the market. He said it sold between $210 and $250 per bag, but at times could go beyond that price when there was scarcity in the market. Asimo Lamin, who graduated at the Gambia High School and Management Development Institute respectively, took up livestock dealing as a life in the business for 14 years. Asimo fell in love with the business since he was going to school. During that time, he believed there was nothing better he could do. He had to quit a medicine course he was pursuing in Sierra Leone to continue his livestock business. Ever since, his life had positively changed with him. Reporting for iAfrica TV, I'm Alaji Cisse.
As the 7th edition of the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industries Trade Fair continues, businessmen and women are lamenting a serious low turnout from the people compared to the previous years. This year's trade fair recorded a staggering number of 260 participants from the Gambia, sub-region and the world business community. Musa Fati reports.
The ongoing Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry GCCI 7th edition continues. Businessmen and women in the 2014 trade fair are lamenting a serious low turnout from the people compared to the previous years. This year's trade fair recorded a staggering number of 260 participants from the Gambia sub-region and the wider world business community. Trade fair provides an excellent opportunity for participating businesses to access opinion from clients and determine market potential, conduct research and evaluate competition, develop commercial structures by identifying new agencies and distributors. iAfrica TV visited the event on Monday, on day 10 of the ongoing event, to sound the opinion of the businessmen and women participating, especially the foreigners. How those business went for them during the period in concern. Sehjang, a Senegalese national, age 34, selling female clothes and creative design products from India, says the business is slow and he is not making any profit out of it.
We say thanks God. We say thanks God. They buy one by one. The curtains, they buy one by one. And the marbles, they like the marbles. What we say, alhamdulillah, but maybe the end, they come more.
Well, are you happy right now the way things are going, or you are not happy with the business?
Yeah, we're happy for here because it's my first time to come to the Fair of Gambia, but
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
He called on the public to come out in their large numbers on a daily basis, not only to visit and look, but buying things from their canteen in order for them to make profit, especially for the foreign participants who paid extra cost to be part of the trade fair, unlike the Gambians. Gabinus S. Edward, a Ghanaian national selling graphic and art products, described the low turnout and the slow way of businesses in the trade fair as discouraging and cannot be compared to the previous years.
low, but I don't know. Foreigners are here, but I don't know. They're not buying compared to the other countries.
Well, generally, what can you talk about Gambian business?
It's normal. It's normal. As I expected, living here is very low. It's low. Even compared to other African countries. If you live here, everything is cheap, and that's what I see. If I price my items, they are all saying it's expensive. So it means living here is moderate.
Mr. Edward Fodder says he attended trade fair in many countries in the sub-region, but the low turnout he saw in this year's first 10 days of the event cannot be compared to any other where in the region. He attributed to the low turnout as a result of high prices, hence Gambia do not know expensive way of life. He however says Gambia is a fine place to live, hence daily living and clothing is not expensive for anyone to manage. A Malian national, Babu Jara, selling Ganela, Farafara and Kubai clothes manufactured in Mali, also expressed a similar sentiment with the previous speakers. Jara called on the public to continue their support by patronizing them like the previous years. According to Jara, they cannot do solid business without the full support and participation of the customers coming to the trade fair. He urged businesses to come together and encourage business partnership at all times, disclosing that Gambian women are fully participating in businesses, quoting the trade fair as a clear testimony. Babu Jara assured that he will continue partnering with GCCI services to the business promotion in the country at international level. Sheikh Kamara, a Gambian national at Ice Wonderland, speaks differently, saying that trade fair for them is better and they are making profit on a daily basis. He further says the product and services they are rendering to customers cannot be compared to any other company of their type in the trade fair, and that has contributed to their progress in the market during the period. Trade fair provide a unique networking platform to Gambian and foreign participants, which will certainly contribute to the growth at farm level, as well as contribute to overall economic growth with consequential impact on employment generation in the Gambia. Reporting for Africa TV, I am Muzaffar.
We'll take a short break now, but the news continues in just a moment. But coming up next, Libya dismisses its Prime Minister Ali Zaiden. U.S. death row inmate walks free after 30 years in jail. Michelle Bachelet has been installed as the President of Chile for a second time. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Libyan parliament has dismissed Prime Minister Ali Zaiden after a rebel-held tanker with thousands of barrels of oil on board escaped a naval blockade. The tanker Morning Glory was the first fully loaded vessel to leave a rebel port since a revolt against the government in Tripoli erupted in July. Since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, the Libyan government has been unable to exert authority over militias and tribesmen that helped in the dictator's overthrow. We have more in this.
Libya's parliament voted Prime Minister Ali Zaiden out of office on Tuesday after months of political infighting that has crippled the North African country. The vote of no confidence came after rebels in eastern Libya said a tanker loaded with oil from a port under their control escaped a naval blockade and moved into international waters. The Libyan government said late on Monday that it had taken control of the North Korean flag tanker Morning Glory as it tried to leave the Al-Sidra port in eastern Libya, and after having briefly exchanged fire with rebels. However, in a sign of the chaos and conflicting information typical of Libya, the rebels rejected the assassin. Oil production, Libya's economic lifeline, has slowed to a trickle since the summer as armed protesters have seized oil ports and fields to press for. They are seeking a greater share of the country's oil revenue as well as autonomy for eastern Libya. Reporting for Africa TV, Mahmud Jawla.
A man who spent nearly 26 years on death row in Louisiana walked free of prison Tuesday, hours after a judge approved the state's motion to vacate the man's murder conviction in 1983 killing of a jeweler. Jean Ford, 64, had been on death row since August 1988 in connection with the death of 56-year-old Isadore Rosman. As Mahmud Jawla and watchmaker for whom Ford had done occasional yard work, Ford has always denied killing Rosman. Michelle Bachelet has been installed as the president of Chile for a second time. The socialist leader was inaugurated in a ceremony in the city of Valparaiso after her election win in December over conservative rival Evelyn Matei. The 62-year-old vowed to stick to her tax and spend policies despite an economic turndown. Bachelet heads a coalition of moderate leftists to communists. She hopes her education policies will calm the Chile's volatile students' movement. Alhaji Sise reports.
Socialist leader Michelle Bachelet was sworn in as Chilean president for a second time after a 4-year interval from leading the country. Amid prolonged splendor and ceremony, dignitaries watched the inauguration of Bachelet, who took over from conservative outgoing premier Sebastián Pinera. Now starting her second term, Bachelet was Chile's first woman president when she took over office in 2006. Bachelet, 62, faces an economic slowdown and student-led protests that have paralyzed the country in recent years and will likely to change her promise of profound social changes. It's time to take this road that we committed to our country's program. It's time to kickstart these dreams towards a nation that is more just, developed, modern, tolerant, and inclusive. Bachelet later told a cheering crowd of more than 5,000 people outside the presidential palace in Santiago. The election victory of Bachelet, a moderate socialist, followed promises to finance education reform with higher corporate taxes, improve health care, change the dictatorship-era constitution to make Congress more representative and reduce the vast wealth gap between rich and poor. But something Bachelet has raised expectations too far. During her first presidency, from 2006 to 2010, Bachelet won praises for spearheading Chile through the global economic crisis. Although growth stumbled and employment rose, she helped the poorest Chilean. She enjoyed 84% approval when she left office. Chile is the world's top copper exporter, and its fast-growing economy, low unemployment and inflation have been the envy of the rest of Latin America. Bachelet, the daughter of a general who died of torture after challenging Pinochet, Chile's first female defense minister and president, then the first leader of the UN Women's Agency. The inauguration ceremony was attended by most presidents from Latin America, as well as US Vice President Joe Biden.
Before we end this edition of today's bulletin, we take a look at the day's top stories. New executive of the National Youth Council inaugurated. Youth coordinator of West Coast region of the Gambia has underscored the region's achievement in this year's farming season. Cattle keeping and dealing continues to be the trademark of the National Livestock Dealers Association. That does it for today's edition of Gambia 24. More on those stories and other interesting developing stories around the world. Stay glued to our headlines, stay glued to our website on iafrica.tv, and until then, it's a bye for now.